Every single company has some kind of secret that they're trying to eviscerate.
We have the mechanisms that would make world government a gigantic global surveillance state.
That seems plausible too.
On the 3rd of May 2023, the share price of Palantir Technologies was $7.38. In November 2025, it peaked at $207.50, a 2,811.65% increase in just 30 months. A meteoric rise for a company synonymous with 8 terrifying words. Legalizing war crimes would be good for business. This is how a company financially incentivized to advocate for war, conflict, and chaos has become one of the fastest growing companies on the planet.
You would prefer the human race to endure, right? You're hesitating.
Yeah, well,
Yes?
I don't know. I would.
Palantir Technologies was founded on the 21st of May 2003 by Peter Thiel, the same guy who merged with Elon Musk's X.com to create PayPal, the man who was recently caught giving lectures on the Antichrist in Rome, and the guy made infamous for being hesitant on wanting the human race to endure. The name of the company was chosen from Tolkien's Lord of the Rings. In the novels, the Palantiri are magical orbs that allow their holders to view events extremely far away, often without the people they're spying on from being aware that they're doing so. The foreshadowing was there from day one. Thiel had watched the 9/11 terror attacks and come to a conclusion on what the world needed. He believed the fraud detection algorithms PayPal used to catch criminals in the world of finance and digital payments could be adapted to catch terrorists around the world and prevent more events like this from happening. And so, Palantir was born. He provided an initial $2 million in seed funding and helped secure early backing from the CIA's venture capital arm, Thiel. That's right, Palantir's first ever investor, aside from Thiel himself, was none other than the Central Intelligence Agency. Its first product, Palantir Gotham, was built specifically for intelligence agencies. It was the beginning of mass surveillance. Alex Karp became the public face and CEO, while Thiel operated as chairman and primary political fixer. Even in its early years, Palantir was incredibly controversial. Despite their pitch being one against mass surveillance, it was Palantir who were behind the NSA's post 9/11 mass surveillance programs, later exposed by Edward Snowden in 2013. Still one of the biggest stories of the century. And it was Palantir's technology running the show. Their PR was already on the ropes, and whilst company after company was exploding in the 2000s, they had no option but to operate in the shadows. Growth was slow and painful because of this. It took them 17 years to turn their first annual profit. Palantir finally went public in September 2020, and its share price opened at around $10, with the company valued at around $20 billion. Within a couple of years, the stock was into single digits. There simply wasn't enough information about the company in the public domain for investors to get behind it. A company rife with controversy and mystery before it even had the opportunity to hit the mainstream. But then, in 2023, everything changed. Palantir launched their flagship product in April 2023, the Artificial Intelligence Platform. Unlike consumer AI tools, AIP was designed to let companies and governments deploy their technology on their own sensitive, classified data, without that data ever leaving their secure environment. It invented a sort of AI bootcamp. Palantir would send its engineers to a client for 5 days and build a working AI prototype to a real business or governmental problem. This bootcamp became a sales machine, and the results were extraordinary. US revenue grew 54% year over year in 2024 alone, hitting almost $3 billion, up significantly from the prior year. Then in September 2024, Palantir was incorporated into the S&P 500, now available to receive funding from the most popular index fund in the world. 3 months later, it joined the Nasdaq 100, and billions more investment capital flooded in. In November 2023, Palantir's share price sat below $15. By October 2025, it had crossed $200, making it one of the best performing stocks in the entire US market over that period. In 2024 alone, the stock rose 341%, the best performance of any company in the S&P 500 that year. The following year, it added another 140%, but this was all just a smokescreen for the real moneymaker and the real power play, military and government contracts. In mid-2025, the US Army signed a contract with Palantir worth up to $10 billion over 10 years for its software and surveillance tech. The Pentagon formalized its Maven AI system, the tool that uses machine learning to analyze real-time data to help make decisions on how to win wars. This system is now a permanent fixture of US military operations, and is also being used by many nations in the Middle East, including and especially Israel, who have integrated Maven to, well,
getting wealthy off of killing Palestinians. Palantir kills Palestinians with their AI and technology, killing my family in Palestine.
And like most of these sadistic companies, the American taxpayer is fundamental to their growth. In September 2025, Palantir landed a £1.5 billion defence deal with the UK government as well. NATO also adopted its AI-enabled military system. Country by country, army by army, Palantir was embedding itself into the permanent infrastructure of Western military power with its systems. The Palantir empire was growing at an alarming rate, greatly benefited by what can only be described as a global push for more defence spending and increasing terror threats. It's no wonder their founder doesn't stop going on about the Antichrist. By mid-2025, revenues were soaring, many thanks to multiple billion-dollar government and military contracts. Shareholders were getting rich, and Thiel's vision was coming to fruition. A world in where Palantir receives billions in taxpayer funding to spy on the very people who are paying the contracts. Yep, that's you. But unfortunately, things just get worse. In April 2025, ICE signed a $30 million no-bid contract with Palantir to build ImmigrationOS, a surveillance platform designed to give immigration enforcement agents real-time visibility into the movements, backgrounds, and data profiles of migrants across the United States. Yes, all migrants, even legal and naturalized ones. ImmigrationOS curates data from passport records, social security files, IRS tax data, and even Medicaid databases to build detailed dossiers on American migrants for immigration enforcement to access whenever they want. The total ICE contract has now ballooned to over $145 million. Again, taxpayers are paying millions of dollars to this company, so they can be spied on. And in a way, thousands of migrants have quite literally funded their own deportations. ImmigrationOS has recently created a new elite system, which can identify target-rich areas like blue-collar building sites, manufacturing plants, sanctuary cities, to allocate more agents to those areas and ramp up deportation numbers. Amnesty International called on Palantir to cease work with ICE's deportation endeavours, citing human rights violations. The Electronic Frontier Foundation, a non-profit organisation sought on defending digital privacy and free speech, has sent Palantir a detailed letter asking it to explain how any of this is consistent with its stated human rights commitments. But I guess when there's this much money at stake, an awful lot of moral fibre goes out the window. Palantir has denied the most serious characterisations. It argues it is a neutral technology provider, does not set government policy, and does not itself collect data. But critics argue that building AI targeting tools for mass deportation campaigns is not a neutral act, regardless of whose hand is pulling the trigger. Overseas, Palantir is just as embedded into a whole range of private datasets. In the UK, it holds contracts with the Ministry of Defence, multiple police forces, and even the NHS, gaining access to all manner of personal data that people have not consented to handing over. In December 2025, the UK Ministry of Defence awarded Palantir a £240 million contract without any competition whatsoever. In January of this year, it held at least £670 million in UK government contracts. So it's not just the American taxpayer enriching these guys for creating a surveillance state, it's us over here too. And as war ensues across the world, and big governments continue to ramp up defence spending in times of uncertainty, Palantir is one of a number of companies positioned for long-term growth. Analysts project revenue climbing toward $12 billion by 2030. With defence budgets rising globally and every government on Earth seeking AI-powered advantage over adversaries, Palantir's customer list is only going to grow. Palantir is a company once again built on taxpayer money, and at the same time, it's widely considered to me one of the most hated private corporations operating today. But there are people pushing back. London Mayor Sadiq Khan has recently blocked a contract going to Palantir rumoured to be worth £50 million, and there's growing sentiment that this company, regardless of whether or not it was started with good intentions, now operates with a backwards incentive to be in favour of war, conflict, pain and suffering across the globe, so they can sell the solution of surveillance to your leaders and continue lining their pockets with your taxpayers' money. This company is filth. This company is the Antichrist. As Thiel put it himself, when the Antichrist arrives, it will strike fear into those it wishes to consume. And now, we have a company stretched across the globe, accessing data they should be allowed to see, making political decisions they shouldn't be allowed to do, and getting rich in the process, all whilst convincing the world that their operations are keeping you safe. Palantir didn't grow by nearly 3,000% in 2 years because they made the world a better place. They did it by convincing the biggest, richest governments in the world that their people were not safe without mass surveillance. The Antichrist really is upon us, and its name is Palantir Technologies. Thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe for more videos like this one.